Hello guys, Lit here. So we got a huge news for Reliquarian. So for people who are new, Reliquarian is a class that introduced in 3.28, which basically a scavenger on Prisia. The ascendancy node is based on unique item, and we're going to get a new unique item set every single league. And this is what the unique set for the 3.29. So let's take a look at it. The first one, the front wheel, we have a level 4. 25% special press is pretty good. 25% chance to avoid elemental element. This is just generally good defensively. And calm roots, action speed cannot be modified below base value. This is really nice quality of life. And then we have File Carers. This is +2 level of all file skill gem. The first thing that coming out to mind is like Blade Vortex, because Blade Vortex scale really well with skill level. So having +2 here is really nice. And then we have the apostate, remove all energy shield and you gain maximum life instead of energy shield from the equip armor, and you minus 12 maximum life per level, meaning you minus 1200 life at level 100. I'm not really sure what to do with the apostate. I think there is some trick you can do with this, but I'm not really familiar with the item, so I don't really know much about it. And the next one is Dawnbreaker, and this is really strong defensively. 25% cold, lighting, and physical taken as fire. And there is a setup in PoE 1 which make you incredibly tanky is by using Sublime Visions, which is really expensive. And it basically gives you 30% of cold lightning damage taken as fire. That's 30%. And then we have Tempered by War. This is 50% cold and lightning taken as fire, so now you have 80%. And normally, you're going to get the rest of 20% from the Watcher Eye. And you basically take cold and lightning damage as fire damage. And the reason why this is strong, because there is some interaction like this. For example, Arctic Armor will give you less fire damage, which is 20% less fire damage. Meaning this fire damage is also going to apply to cold and lightning because you take them as fire damage. And because you only take fire damage now, you don't really need cold and lightning resistance. You only need fire resistance and you only need maximum fire resistance. And this interaction basically make you like super tanky. And Dawnbreaker here not going to replace Sublime Visions, but without Sublime Visions, let's say that we get 25% from here, 20% from the Watcher Eye, and also 50% from Temper of War, you are like 95%. You're probably not as tanky as 100%, but 95% is pretty nuts. And also this one gives you also 25% physical damage. So Dawnbreaker will be a very strong defensive node. I think this is probably one thing that a lot of people are going to take. If not Dawnbreaker, I think the next one will be Fire Carers. Because the +2 level for spell is really strong. And the next one for the spell cluster on the top, we have Aragali Fang. You can trigger level 20 Ray Spider, and you don't have to use the Aragali Fang. Now you can actually use the weapon to actually boost the damage of your minions, because Ray Spectre is a minion build. Xenos Time and Suspended in Time is basically like a skill that create like a mirage, which basically do your spell. So you basically get a multiple cast of the spell. I'm never really play with this. Actually, I just know about this now, but there is bunch of restriction on this one. You can also see it on here, like there's a bunch of restriction, but this is something you can do with spell. And the next one is Famous Sane. You get +1 chance to block for the Summon Skeleton, +2 attack and cast for the Summon Raging Spirit, and regen 0.6 per each Ray Zombie, and 30 mana regen per Ray Spectre. I'm not really sure how strong this one is. Not really familiar. Like one thing that caught my eyes is like 2% cast speed, and you can have like 20 maximum raging speed from the gem alone. You have something like 40% increased cast speed, which is pretty good, but I don't think it's that broken. So I'm not really sure. So if you know some interaction with this, let me know in the comment. And the next one will be Circular Crank. This one +1 all spell skill gem. This is just generically good for every spell. If you play spell, this is probably one you're going to go for. And the next one is Black Cane. Each summon Phantasm grants you Phantasmal Might. And Phantasmal Might gives you 44 to 66 flat physical damage spell. And you can get up to 10 Phantasms. It gives you like 440 to 60 and 60 flat physical damage, which I think is quite a lot. So this is a very good contender for damage. The same with the Secret Crank. This is not going to up all the time. You're only going to get the might when you have whenever you get the Phantasm Spirit. And the last one is Cimarron. Give you crit multi, crit chance, and chance to block spell damage per power charge. This is really strong for any power charge stacking. Like for base, you have 3 power charges, and you get another 3 from the tree. Not to mention any other source. There's a bunch of source you can stack power charges. But just by the 6 alone, you get 48 crit multi, you get 1.8 base crit chance. And this is a base crit chance, so this is pretty strong for the crit chance. and you get 18 chance of block spell damage. It's not too big, but spell damage I think is one block that are pretty hard to get compared to like attack block. So Cimarron is really good if you plan to stack the power charges. And for the attack side, we got the Unmight 100% crit multi while you don't have any frenzy charges, meaning you cannot have any frenzy charges, but 100 crit multi is quite a lot of crit multi. And the next one is Fidelita Spike. Hit always shock. This is similar with Elementalist, meaning you don't need a chance to shock because hit always shock. If it said like hit can shock, you will still need a chance to shock. And deal no physical damage, pretty big downside depending on what skill do you use. And Herald Thunder have 100% increase buff, and Herald Thunder give you a bunch of lightning damage. So for example, like this one is 76. If we have like 100% buff, we got something like 152 flat lightning damage, which is pretty cool. And you also have the 100% mana reservation efficiency, and this means it's going to cut the Herald reservation by half. 100% doesn't mean it doesn't cost anything, it just means it's half. And the next one is Shadow Divinity, grant summon greater Harbinger of Direction skills. To be honest, I cannot find anything about this one, so I'm not sure what this skill did. This is probably the Harbinger skill from Frisia. So if you guys know, let me know in the comment. And Ngamahu Flame give you a trigger level 20 Molten Burst on melee hit. This is pretty good. And then the Aldi, enemy taunted by your Warcry, explode on death. And this is a 100% chance to explode, so this is pretty good. And the second chalice, I think this one is really strong. It gives you 20% physical damage, extra cold, extra lightning, and extra fire. So for examples, like if you have something like Blade Vortex, which the base damage is physical, and whenever you use the Sapphire Flask, Ruby Flask, or Topaz Flask, you basically get a 20% physical extra cold, fire, and lightning that is really, really strong. And the condition to get this buff is you need to use Sapphire Flask, Ruby Flask, or Topaz Flask recently. In mapping context, you're probably always going to get all of this buff. You kill a monster, you get flash charges, and gain a flash charge when you deal critical strike. This is not going to apply to everything. This is going to apply one flash at a time. So we need to be able to trigger this flash every 4 seconds, because recently in PoE 1 is 4 seconds. And there is a mod on the flash where you're going to reduce the charges use on the flash. But yeah, Sacred Chalice, this 20% physical damage, extra cold, fire, and lightning, this is really, really strong if we can maintain the buff. And for the last cluster, this one is really, really interesting. The first one is Calm Binding. Nearby enemy convert 25% their physical damage to fire. This one combination with the Dawnbreaker, now you have 50% physical damage taken as fire. Combining these two with like the Temple of War and the Watcher Eye, you're going to be very, very tanky, I think. And also the 15% increased strength kind of remind me of Giga RF. And Giga RF is one build that also utilize maximum fire resistance because it's a Righteous Fire build. So combining is really, really strong for that. And Melting of the Flesh, this is just really good duel. In the perfect roll is -4, so you kind of lose 1%. But the important line is elemental resistance are kept by your highest maximum elemental resistance instead. So what this one did is basically if you have 90% maximum fire resistance, and that is the highest maximum resistance, and you don't have any maximum cold or maximum lightning resistance, that 90% maximum fire resistance going to be shared to the cold and lightning. Now you still have to get the resistance itself, it only shared the cap, but this is one way people can get like 90% maximum fire, cold, and lightning. So Melting of the Flesh is just generically good in terms of defensively. And Polarity Devastations, this one is really good if you can meet the conditions. Cover enemy in us is make enemy take 20% fire damage and also 20% less movement speed. Cover enemy in Frost, make them take 20% cold damage and also 50% less critical strike chance. As long as you can get the Ignite and Freeze, this two things is actually pretty strong. Gloomfang, skill chain +1 times is pretty cool. Projectile that have chain gain 20% non-chaos extra chaos. This is generally good DPS. And Presence of Chayula cannot be stunned. Nice quality of life. And 20% maximum life convert to energy shield. To be honest, I'm not really sure how strong this one is. Probably not for endgame, but for early on, this is probably going to be quite good for survivability. And the last one is Scream of Desiccated, which is kind of surprising you see this one on the Reliquarian since the last update from GGG is Mirage not going to go core. You cannot fight the boss from the Mirage anymore. So the belt kind of is a big question mark whether we can get the belt or not. And this not basically give you going to have the Impenetrable Shrine buff while affected by no flash. And Impenetrable Shrine give you 100% armor, 100% evasions, and 100% maximum energy shield. but the downside affected by no flash, meaning you cannot also use mage plus. So this one seems pretty good, but I'm kind of not very sure about the shrine buff because this is impenetrable. I mean, if they give us like acceleration or something like that, it probably will be too broken. There's probably something you can do with this one, but you cannot combine this with Mage Block, which is kind of unfortunate. So that is the unique set for Reliquarian for 3.29s. I think this is better than the last league. The note here, some of them looks pretty strong. So now we just have to wait for the reveal and see what happens to the skills, and we basically go from there. But I'm pretty happy looking at the Reliquarian now. At least it's better than the last league. The last league is kind of underwhelming. But yeah, I think that's it for me. If you have any idea or questions or anything, just leave a comment. So thank you everyone for watching. Really, really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one.